Hi, my name is Charlotte. I have short, dark hair, round, brown glasses, some pretty cool tattoos, and an even cooler rainbow wheelchair. And whilst I would argue there are clearly lots of cool things about me, I'm sure the first thing that may have caught your mind and your eye was my wheelchair, not me. I know this curiosity all too well. Every wheelchair user must have their sad story about how they landed themselves in their chair. This curiosity often leaves me at the mercy of a very particular question. That question being, what happened? When I was 11 years old, I had a spinal cord infarction, also known as a stroke in my spinal cord. This is an incredibly rare medical event involving the blockage in arteries that supply my spinal cord. I was paralyzed from the neck down, and I couldn't move or feel anything below my shoulders. I was eventually given the prognosis that I would never walk again, and that it was very unlikely that I'd live an independent life beyond my stroke. Hearing those very harrowing, explicit words at only 11 years old could have easily gone two ways. The one, arguably more predictable reaction would be very emotional. Tears, anger, frustration, confusion as to why such major medical news would be delivered so carelessly. Or there's the Charlotte reaction, where you look this physician in the face and you say, no, actually, I'm gonna walk out of the hospital. I felt powerful in my defiance, empowered to not let this stroke define me or my autonomy. It was a deeply brave overcoming of medical and physical hardship, which pretty impressive at 11 years old, wouldn't you think? Well, what if I told you that I completely disagree with you? By saying I'm gonna walk out of this hospital, I was ignoring the very real possibility that I wasn't gonna be able to do that. I wasn't brave, I was scared. I didn't want to use a wheelchair, and more evidently, I didn't want to be disabled. This fear and avoidance of disability had such a strong hold on me, though it eventually sank in that my disabilities weren't going anywhere. This forced me to be honest with myself and ask, why don't I want to be disabled? For a long time, I was convinced that disability was objectively negative, medically abnormal, and defined by a plethora of can'ts. I can't climb the stairs. I can't enter a building without a ramp. I can't open doors without a button maybe opening them for me. By that logic, then, my disabled body must be the problem. And ultimately, I was scared of becoming the problem. But as I've grown throughout my recovery, what I've realized is that disabled people were never the problem. The systems that don't support us are. Say a building doesn't have an elevator. It would be easy to say that the problem is the fact that I can't climb the stairs and trace this back to the assumed problem of disability. But perspectives like this actively ignore the systems that both create and perpetuate the ableist inequalities that disabled people face on the daily. The problem has never been that I can't climb the stairs or that the lack of an elevator poses an issue for me. It's that the building wasn't designed to include disabled people like me in the first place. And so, what is there to be afraid of? because it was never me or my disabilities that were ever the problem. I've found that the true antidote to this fear is not bravery. In my case, it's disabled joy. Disabled joy is about embracing life as a disabled person, not despite my disabilities, but because of them. Celebrating the creative solutions I come up with in response to inaccessibility, celebrating the rich, diverse community that I'm a part of, and refusing to see my life as lesser than my non-disabled peers. I'm not celebrating the fact that unforeseen, unexplained paralysis was thrust upon me. I'm celebrating the ways in which paralysis has led me to both understand and appreciate life in entirely new ways as a disabled person. By relishing in this joy, what am I to be afraid of? Why would I need to be brave? What is there for you to pity or to question? Through disabled joy, my mere existence is a radical act of activism in direct protest of societal rejection of disability. So, if you ask me what happened, expecting me to rehash my pitiful overcoming of medical hardship that landed me in my chair, you're missing the point. I'm happy in my disabled body, and you don't need to understand my medical history to understand how incredible it is that I live the life that I live. Disabled people are powerful and will forever continue to be. I urge you to challenge your own assumptions and your own fears about disability, and instead embrace the integral role that we play in shaping the world for the better. I'm not scared. I'm not brave either. And most importantly, I am not the problem. I'm a disabled, joyful force of nature contributing to a world that needs more perspectives like mine. Thank you.